Angel Reese calls herself the Michael Jordan of the WNBA because she's iconic. So let's talk about what actually happened during All-Star Weekend in Chicago. A blocked layup where the defender never left the ground. A trip over someone's foot on live TV. Celebrities walking right past her. And a shoe moment that became so awkward the internet still won't stop talking about it. Meanwhile, Clark was pulling up from the logo and taking part in meet and greets with fans, while many people showed up to see Clark instead of the supposed hometown star, Angel Reese. Stick around because we're breaking down the entire weekend and saving the most embarrassing moment for the end. And why was Reese an all-star in the first place? Let me know what you think in the comments below.
To have a Barbie is like, you got to be iconic. Yeah, you have to do some real things. And I knew it was going to take some time because there's so many great women that are Barbie dolls and they have their own doll. But I knew that's what I wanted. And I spoke that into existence.
0 points in 9 minutes on the floor. That was Angel Reese's entire stat line in the All-Star game. It's the kind of box score that gets screenshotted and shared all over social media for days. 9 minutes isn't just a rough stretch. It's barely enough time to make an impact. And for someone who has spent the entire season calling herself the Michael Jordan of the WNBA, it's definitely not the kind of highlight you want attached to your name. Here's how it happened. The United Center was packed. Team Collier was trailing on the scoreboard when Reese checked into the game, with the crowd expecting the same version of her they usually see on Instagram. Confident, loud, and ready to turn any moment into a highlight. Instead, she got the ball in space, drove to the rim, and missed a layup that bounced off the rim with nobody around her. No contact. No defender in her face. No excuse to point to afterward. Just a wide-open look that didn't fall in front of a national TV audience waiting to see if she could back up all the talk. Then things got even worse because the very next trip down the floor produced the moment that exploded across social media. Reese drove to the basket again and Aya Wilson, the same Wilson who has built her career as one of the best defenders in the game, didn't even leave the ground. Her feet stayed planted. Her arms went up, and Reese's shot still got sent right back like she had run into a wall. Wilson later admitted she wasn't even trying to block the shot. She said she doesn't like playing defense that hard in an all-star game and was simply trying to stay out of the way. That only made the moment look even worse. Reese didn't get beaten by great effort. She got blocked by accident. The clip spread everywhere within minutes, and it's easy to understand why. A block where the defender jumps and perfectly times it is just basketball. But a block where the defender stays flat-footed and still sends the shot back is something completely different. That's the kind of rejection that takes almost no effort, and it's the type of clip that becomes a punchline instead of a highlight. People don't send an ordinary defensive play to their group chats. They send the one where someone gets embarrassed without the defender even having to do much.
I want to ask about two moments. Have you ever blocked a shot that you didn't mean to block?
Right. Angel was not supposed to do that. I was trying to get out of the way. I do not like to block shots during All-Star games because what am I doing? So yeah, no, I've never had that happen to me and I'm so sorry.
And Reese wasn't done falling, literally, because right after the block she lost her footing as Wilson was backpedaling and went down on live television, with her sneakers in the air in front of a packed arena and cameras pointed right at her. 3 separate moments happened back-to-back on the one weekend when the entire league and half of Chicago were watching to see if she could live up to all the hype. Compare that to a full season of talking about being the face of the league, comparing herself to Michael Jordan, and posting like she owns the sport. The gap between the talk and what actually happened on the court became impossible to ignore. Even the players on the bench couldn't hide their reactions. The analysts on the broadcast had that look people get when they're trying not to laugh on camera but can't quite hold it in. Nobody had to say a word. Their expressions said everything.
What makes you her?
I'm really confident within myself. Nobody can tell me I'm not that girl. I wake up every morning.
And now she's in Atlanta. What's Atlanta giving?
Atlanta giving black girl magic. It's giving culture. It's giving lemon pepper wings. It's giving Atlanta dream. It's giving everything. So I'm really happy to be in Atlanta. And make sure y'all come out and pull up.
You're gonna see me at a game. Best believe. Last question: Are you the art or the artist tonight?
I'm both. I'm the artist. I'm that girl, okay?
Within an hour, that entire sequence, the missed layup, the no-jump block, and the fall, had already turned into memes that were spreading across almost every basketball page on the internet. And it followed her for the rest of the weekend. But honestly, the game wasn't even where things got worse for her. Later that weekend, a very famous guest showed up at practice. And what happened when he saw Reese was somehow even more uncomfortable than anything that happened during the game. What does it look like when a former president of the United States walks right past you as if you're not even there? That's the question people in Chicago were asking after the All-Star practice wrapped up at the Obama Presidential Center. And for Angel Reese, it became the second painful moment of the weekend.
It's so funny because when my plane was landing yesterday, he was right next to my plane too. And he was like, they were like, VIP, nobody can get off the plane. I'm like, well, we VIP too. And they said Obama, I was like, oh, okay.
Barack Obama arrived at practice with cameras rolling, and every player in the gym lined up hoping for a quick conversation, a handshake, or maybe even a photo they could post later. That's a completely normal reaction. He was president of the United States for 8 years. He's a true Chicago figure, and just about everyone in that building grew up seeing him on TV. The energy in the gym changed the moment he walked in, and players started trying to get closer to him. Reese was standing right there, exactly where you'd expect the self-proclaimed face of Chicago basketball to be. And based on everything she had been saying throughout the season, that's exactly how she saw herself. She even called herself the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. This was supposed to be her chance to share a moment with a Chicago legend of a different kind. But instead, Obama walked right past Reese without stopping.
Oh, hey, Caitlin, how are you? Really nice to meet you. You're great. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Don't let all this nonsense get you down.
Crazy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, I always say one of the things that was luckiest for me was I didn't get famous till I was like 45. So I was an old man. I mean, you're my daughter's age. They're not to have that much, burden and nonsense.
Where did he stop? Right in front of Clark. He walked over and started talking to her directly, having a one-on-one conversation while Reese stood just a few feet away, fully visible to every camera in the gym. Obama told Clark not to let all the outside noise bring her down. He shared part of his own story, explaining that he didn't become widely known until he was in his 40s, while Clark was dealing with that level of attention in her 20s. He reminded her not to lose the joy of the game, telling her she's a hooper, she'll always be a hooper, and that she's on a really good run right now. Clark then asked if they could take a photo together, and when he agreed, she immediately invited other players into the picture, which said a lot about her instincts in that moment. The body language in that clip told the whole story. You didn't need a reporter to explain it, and you didn't need commentary to understand what was happening. Just watching Reese's expression while Obama had his back turned toward her was enough to tell the story. Clark later called it a conversation she would remember for the rest of her life and said that the former president was probably one of the few people who truly understood what it feels like to live under that kind of spotlight. Meanwhile, Reese was standing there watching the exact kind of moment she had been chasing all season happen to someone else.
So don't lose that joy. The game's like the game. And you're a hooper. And you hoop.
I try, sometimes.
No, you always hoop.
Thanks.
And you're on a nice little run right now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
You mind if I get a picture?
Yeah, come on.
Ready?
Come on.
So cute. Wait, guys, get in with me too.
Come on.
Nice to meet you.
Come on.
Fans and commentators picked up on that moment almost immediately, calling it one of the most awkward and unscripted moments of the entire weekend. And it's not hard to understand why it hit harder than a missed shot. A missed layup is something every player can shake off. Everyone has an off night. 6 months later, nobody remembers the box score from an exhibition game. But getting walked right past by a former president is a moment that's much harder to explain away. There's no stat correction for it. No highlight you can post to change it. Nothing that erases what the cameras captured in real time. For many fans, that clip became the proof they felt they had been waiting for all season. In their eyes, it showed who the league, and even the country, sees as the face of women's basketball right now. And while Reese was finding herself in those moments, Clark was somewhere else entirely, spending her time doing the kind of work many stars skip during All-Star weekend. If you think Reese has been an embarrassment, drop a like and let me know why in the comments below. So what was Clark actually doing during the hours that never make it into the highlight reels? Because while Reese was chasing attention and getting passed by a former president, Clark was somewhere completely different, and it wasn't at a nightclub or on a party bus.
I'm excited, obviously these weekends are packed with a lot of different stuff, but you never take for granted a moment like this. It's so fun to share with everybody. I feel very authentic, I feel very real. I feel like they can feel like I was in their shoes at one point because I was. I lived their dream. I played every sport growing up. I played with the boys, and I didn't think it was any different. I get to live out my dream, and that's really special. And not everybody's gonna end up being a WNBA player or a professional athlete, but hopefully you allow them to dream to be whatever they want to be in life, and I think that's a really impactful thing on young people.
All-Star Weekend is usually more like a party tour. Players make appearances, enjoy the nightlife, create content for their own brands, and treat the whole weekend like a vacation with a game at the end. Nobody really blames them for that because that's what the event has become around the league. But Clark's schedule looked completely different. Her calendar was filled with charity events, fan meet and greets, and sponsor appearances for State Farm, Wilson, and Nike, one after another with barely any time in between. These weren't just quick photo opportunities where she showed up and left a few minutes later. Fans waited in line for hours just to get a wave or an autograph. And according to several people who were there, Clark stayed well past the time she was supposed to leave, continuing to meet fans as the lines kept getting longer instead of ending the event early. That's not the behavior of someone chasing attention. That's the behavior of someone who knows the attention is already there and chooses to make the most of it.
With the sharpshooter, Caitlinclark.
Then she still had a game to play, and she didn't treat it like just another exhibition. Clark finished with 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal. She came out aggressive from the opening tip, scoring 11 points in the first 3 minutes and setting the tone before some players had even found their rhythm. Pulling up from the logo isn't just another highlight. It's a statement. And Clark made that statement early enough that the rest of the game had to adjust to the way she was playing.
Then she still had a game to play, and she didn't treat it like a formality. Clark finished with 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal. And she came out firing immediately, scoring 11 points in the first 3 minutes to set the tone before some players had even broken a sweat. Pulling up from the logo isn't just a highlight, it's a statement. And she made that statement early enough that the rest of the game had to adjust around her.
And it wasn't just her offense. Clark played defense with an intensity that felt unusual for an all-star game where most players were taking it easy. She was closing out on shooters, fighting through screens, and playing like the score actually mattered. That's the difference between a player performing for the cameras and a player who competes because it's simply part of who they are. You don't suddenly flip that switch in an exhibition game unless that's how you're built. She wasn't chasing highlight clips. She was chasing the win. And those two things aren't always the same. After the game, when reporters asked about all the media attention that had followed her throughout the season, Clark made a clear distinction between her performance and the outside noise. She made it clear that she wasn't going to let outside narratives define who she is or how she plays the game. That's not the response of a rookie overwhelmed by the spotlight. It's the response of someone who has already learned how to block out the chaos and stay focused on the work. And that level of maturity stood out even more when compared to everything that seemed to be falling apart around Reese during that same weekend.
Marcus talked about being excited to play with Olivia Miles as Clark puts in the first points of tonight's All-Star game. And here is Clark. Clark pulling and hitting on a deep. Players going up against each other. Howard having an incredible year for the Lynx. Clark again on a bomb. Here's Clark. Will she try again? You bet! Caitlinclark with 3 logo bombs within the first 3 minutes.
And the fan experience told the same story. People came hoping to catch a glimpse of the hometown star in Chicago, but instead found themselves lining up to see Clark, waiting just as long for her as they would for someone who had grown up in that city. By the time the weekend came to an end, Clark had done more work off the court than many players do over an entire season of appearances. And that work ethic, that willingness to spend time with the fans and show up for people, turned into something you could actually hold in your hands. A signature shoe that suddenly seemed to be the one every All-Star wanted to get.
With the steal. 1-point team spoon lead. Clark connects on the 3. 4-3 and a half. Asia Wilson getting the block. And then saying, hey, I wasn't even trying to there. Angel Wilson and Angel Reese hugging loud. How excited they were to play together here in the All-Star game as Wilson flicks it in off the feet. Backing away, firing a deep 3, and hitting.
Picture this. A room filled with some of the best players in the world, and almost every one of them is asking about the same pair of shoes. And they weren't Angel Reese's. That's exactly what happened in Chicago. As soon as Clark's new Caitlin 1 sneakers showed up during All-Star weekend, players noticed them right away. And these weren't just polite compliments as they walked by. Players were asking for pairs before the shoes had even been released to the public, something that almost never happens for a WNBA signature shoe. Sneaker companies usually have to spend millions on endorsement deals to create that kind of excitement among other players. But this time, it was happening naturally, in real time, without anyone having to pay for the buzz.
Caitlin, I'm curious, did you hook up any teammates or anybody with the shoe? Or, I mean,
Courtney Williams is rocking them tonight, which, like, I've had multiple people ask for them. I only have size 9 right now, so they're actually playing in my samples.
That's actually my size 2.
Both the stud buds have them on. Both the stud buds have them on. So, yeah, this is a pretty fun pair, and you're looking at, I think it's like Valentine's Day edition. You got the charm on there, but I was going to wear some all-white ones. I'm like, that's not fun enough. We got to break out some fire.
So cute with the color. The ombre matches the jersey. You mentioned teammates, right? You both have teammates you're participating with. What have you loved?
Courtney Williams and Natisha Heedman, the stud buds duo who already run one of the most popular pages in the league, got their hands on pairs early and posted about them almost immediately. That's not a small detail. These are established veterans with their own fan base, their own brands, and every reason to stay neutral instead of promoting a younger player's shoe. But they didn't hesitate for a second. When players who already have their own audience start showing off someone else's sneaker, that's not a marketing campaign. That's a genuine show of respect. Then Jonquil Jones entered the conversation, and that's the part that really made the moment stand out. Jones was the actual MVP of that All-Star game, putting up 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. It was a dominant performance that could have easily been the biggest story of the weekend all by itself. Yet she still took the time to talk about Clark's sneaker. Think about that for a moment. The player who won the award everyone was competing for ended up talking more about Clark's shoes than her own MVP trophy.
Hey! Ain't no wearing these tonight.
I'm putting mine on right now.
I made a call to the president, and y'all see what happened.
Thank you. Oh, give me a hug, girlie.
We love you.
I think we're all the same size.
Hell yeah! We love the president! We love the president!
You're the second player to ever play them after this other young girl. But yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
And I'm about to wear these right now too.
Nice. Yeah, put yours. That's why I said
they go my feet.
Courtney's gonna make shots from 40 tonight.
Okay, you need to hold it down, bro.
I'm wearing these tonight. Stop playing. But hey, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So where was Reese during all of this? She's the one who spent the entire season comparing herself to Michael Jordan, the player whose sneakers created an entire industry of their own. If anyone was going to have a big shoe moment during All-Star Weekend, you would expect it to be her, right? But here's what reportedly happened instead. While players were lining up and asking about Clark's shoe, Reese spoke up and told the other All-Stars that she had a pair of her own shoes she could give them too, seemingly expecting some kind of reaction. But nothing happened. No one asked for a pair. There was no excitement. Nobody in the room took her up on the offer. Not a single player requested a pair, and there weren't any posts about them afterward. There was only silence, the kind that's louder than any comment, playing out in front of the entire All-Star roster with everyone watching.
What y'all think, chat? I like that little charm. Yeah,
What's the chat saying?
Oh,
Fire. Fire.
Nice. They know what's going on.
Me and Courtney twinning tonight, and then we got triplets on the bench.
You said, dang, so really nobody got them. Like, these exclusive as hell.
Yeah, it's just we all wear the same. So I had extras. I'm like, I gotta get you guys right.
That's love, bro. You gonna sign them after the game?
You want me to?
I do.
Just don't sell them on eBay.
No, hell, come on, girl. It's crazy as hell. You crazy as hell. Probably like a couple M's though.
At least stand. You gotta get close, all right?
That silence stung even more than the missed layup earlier in the weekend. And here's why. A missed shot is just one bad moment. It happens to every player, and by the next game, most people have already moved on. But sneaker culture in this league goes much deeper than that. It's almost like its own form of currency. When players want to wear your shoe, they're telling you, without saying a word, that your brand matters. And when they don't, when the room goes completely quiet instead, that sends a message too. Nobody in the media created that moment. No producer arranged for players to line up for one shoe while ignoring the other. It happened naturally, in real time, in front of every All-Star in the building. And once that moment spread, it didn't just become an embarrassing weekend for Reese. It also raised bigger questions about where these two players are heading next season. In the end, the entire weekend in Chicago came down to one clear difference. Clark earned her position through the work that most cameras never show, the long fan lines, the sponsor appearances, and the logo threes while playing with real intensity. Reese built her image through talk, and the league saw the difference play out in real time. Why do you think Reese was selected as an All-Star? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.